What's good, YouTube? Slender Revolution X here. Coming to you guys today with a long-awaited deck profile of the Neos deck that I ran at ARG Circuit Series Philadelphia. What I'm going to do is I'll do the deck profile first for you guys, and then if you guys are still interested, hang around after the video. I'll give you guys a little bit of a tournament report, just to let you know how I did, how the deck went, cards that I added, cards that I wish I hadn't ran, things like that. So if you guys want to hear about that stuff, it'll be at the end of the deck profile, so just follow all the way through. That way you can kind of associate the cards and things like that. So without further ado, guys, let's get into the deck profile, and I will see you when it's done. Alright, guys, so let's dive into the deck profile here. We'll start off with the main deck. Alright, so I ran your pretty standard 3 Stratos for the tournament. I thought it was a good call. This card's just really good for dumping dead cards that you would draw, like Neos, and some of the Neospatians without Convert Contact into the graveyard. It's all pretty explained in the other videos if you guys have been following along with my Neos adventure thus far. Triple Bubble Man, it makes too many good Exceed plays in this deck for me to justify not running it. So, I mean, that card is really, really good. We've seen it in Hero Beat. We've seen it in a lot of different hero decks. He's arguably one of the best heroes out there. 2 Elemental Hero Neos, I still think 2 is very crucial in the deck. I've seen some build with 1, but I like sticking with 2, and I've been playing this deck for well over a year now, actually. So, I think that he's the way to go at 2, especially going for the OTK. New card, Double Curry Bandit. It's too good to be able to mill in this deck and search and grab something like a Miracle Fusion or a Miracle Contact. So he's a new addition. He play tested great. He did well for me there. If you can get a Neos and I mean, any hero really, any of the monster cards that land in the graveyard in this deck are pretty much alive to become pretty big fusion fodder. So, really like Curry Bandit in here. Double Hummingbird, still think 2 Hummingbirds really good, especially when you're going for the OTA, and it's a really easy card to side out, so I don't have an issue with that. On to the one-ofs, the 1 Neospace Pathfinder, still play the Neospace variant, I still think is the strongest variant of the deck, so I'm sticking with him. 1 Neospatian Grand Mole, that card's really good. That's a card that I actually never sided out, just because in any matchup it's a pretty good card to use and able to get rid of things like hands and things like that. So he really helped me. And last for the monsters, I have 1 Neospatian Aqua Dolphin. Allows for the Storm Neos, which in some of the decks that we see nowadays in the meta have very heavy back rows, so very good to be able to make Storm Neos, and he's also searchable by Rhoda, so if you have that Convert Contact in hand, you can search out him with Rhoda, which is cool. On to Magic and Traps. Triple Miracle Fusion, one of the big power cards of the deck, as you guys know. Triple Miracle Contact, the OTK, that's how you get there. That's the quickest way you can get there. So, definitely have that at 3. It is your win condition. Double Upstart Goblin. I think Upstart Goblin is too good, especially in a deck when you're looking to get a difference between your and opponent's life points. So, allows you to draw into the OTK quicker, things like that. Double Convert Contact, arguably one of the best draw cards ever made. It's a shame it was for such a terrible archetype. But I think running 2 in this deck, opening with that card is really, really good. Double Emergency Call, searches out your heroes, things like that. No reason not to have search. Double Hero Lives. Was thinking about bumping up to 3, but stuck with 2, just to avoid the clogginess. Really, really powerful. Did really well for me this past tournament. Double Neospace, like I said, I think it's the strongest version of this deck to run the Neospace variant. Double Super Poly, that card is really good. I took out a Quasar Dragon with that in this exact tournament, so definitely a need to have in here. Also really good against hands. I mean, it's just a really, really good card. Double MST, big plus to get rid of back rows, especially if you hit the right ones. So I really like MST in this. 1 Rhoda, I think it's pretty self-explanatory, and 1 Lance. The Lance, I was thinking about bumping up to 2, but it felt pretty good at 1. And playtesting, I tended to draw it when I needed it, so... and I really, especially in this deck, don't like opening up 2 Lances, just because I think it's a good mid-game card, so that's why I keep it at 1. Now, on to Traps, I only run 3 in the main deck. We go with double 7 tools. People say, why not Wiretap? I say, why Wiretap? This is too good in this deck to get that separation between your and opponent's life points. So, You go to attack with an air hummingbird, they activate mirror force, you activate this. That air hummingbird, or that air Neos gets 1,000 more attack, so pretty good card. And last but not least, the Solemn Warning. Solemn Warning is a really strong card, especially this format with a lot of things like hands and Lightsworn running around. Really, really like the Solemn Warning in this. So that's all for the main deck. Let's go into the extra deck. In this, for this tournament, I ran 2 The Shining. I think The Shining is really, really good, especially in a format where big monsters can really hold a field down. And the fact that he has the recurrence helps out a lot. Then you got your Omni Heroes. You have your 1 Novermaster, your Gaia, your Great Tornado, and your Escurado. Oh, and Absolute Zero. So they all kind of did their own part. I don't think I really made anybody except for Absolute Zero and Novermaster. Super Polying a Fire Hand into a Novermaster can cause some serious advantage. Onto the Neos fusions. Double Air Neos. Gotta stick to that OTK. 1 Grand Neos, 1 Aqua Neos, and 1 Storm Neos. All of them played their part. I actually ended up taking out the Dark Panther for this tournament because I wanted to go as consistent as possible. And to me, the Dark Panther didn't really serve a purpose other than his own ability to copy things. So the Dark Neos really didn't help me in here at all, and it opened up a spot for me to put in the second Shining, which I think is a stronger card. Anyway, so let's go into my Exceeds. Changed 1 card. I still went with the Excalibur just because of mad OTKs. Same thing with Blade Armor Ninja, but I actually changed up, took out the Maystroke, and put in a Gemini Pearl. I've really seen in a lot of playtesting before the tournament a lot of Fiendish Change, and this card gets around Fiendish Chain. It's also a big beater that allows you to get over things like Ophion, which are a problem for this deck. So the ability to make this card and run over things like Ophion and not be Fiendish Chained is actually really, really good. So that's it for the extra deck. Let's go into the side deck and I'll show you guys what I sided. For this tournament, I decided to do something a little different and decided to go for a smokescreen. So essentially what my goal was to OTK game 1, then side into Hero Stun game 2. Unfortunately, it was a really, really bad meta call because for the tournament, ARG decided to make the Lightsworn deck legal. So the whole skill drain aspect kind of hurt me, and it kind of made me game 2, it put me at a disadvantage game 2. So I would have changed a lot of things. I probably would have made a more competitive side deck and stuck with the OTK rather than putting into a stun deck. So let's go into the side deck. I have the 3 Alias, 2 Beast King Barbaros, just because he gets so big over skill drain. Double Gemini Spark. If I'm putting in the aliases, there's no reason not to run Gemini Spark. It's too good of a card. The triple skill drain. Like I said, it seems like a pretty cool idea, and I wanted to try something new, but the skill drain ended up hurting me more than it helped me. Double Hero Blast, 1 Bottomless Trap Hole, 1 Fiendish Chain, and 1 Soul Drain. Soul Drain was a really strong card this tournament. It made people really salty. You got a lot of obnoxious people made a lot of plays, and this was a really obnoxious card to be able to stop those plays. It worked out really well for me. I just wish I would have been able to side accordingly, and I wish I would have played against the meta a little bit more than I did. But the Lightsworn thing kind of threw me off guard. I wasn't really expecting to see too much of it there. So, honestly, I would change this entire side deck to something that's more competitive and stick with the OTK, because I started off X2 in the I was 0-2 for the first 2 matches, and I went up against Hieratic Rulers and Lightsworn. And my issue was not being able to do anything with the side deck. So I was winning game 1, but games 2 and 3, I ended up losing strictly because my side deck was essentially dead. So, other than that, though, it was a pretty good deck. I ended up going 4 and 5. A little disappointed in that. I thought I would do better, but then again, siding is I'd say 75% of the game nowadays. Because if you can't side, it puts you at an immediate disadvantage. The biggest thing I would say though is the shock factor that this deck gives. I was beating light. I played 3 Lightsworn players and a Sylvan player, a Bujin player. So what's that? With 3 Lightsworn, Sylvan Bujins. I beat 2 of the Lightsworns. I beat the Sylvan. Lost to the Bujins, and I lost to Mermails. I lost to the Hieratic Ruler. I lost to... and then 2 Mythic Rulers. So I beat 2 Lightsworn, I beat the Sylvan, and I beat 1 of the Mythic Rulers. So it was really productive. I'll tell you what, the shock factor of people that aren't playing a lot of back row, that tend to just open up their field for turn 1, especially if I lost the die roll and decided to go in there balls deep and since I was going second, I drew this a lot, so going second with them out not having back row is really, really good. And another thing that's really great that worked out really well for me that I wasn't expecting to is when I was using Prisma, I got breakthrough'd a lot. People like to break through and try to Fiendish Chain this. And I mean, I try to tell them, like, you should know rulings, and I understand that it's a game, but when I'm in a competitive environment, I'm going to take every advantage that I can. So when somebody wastes a Fiendish Chain on this, I'm more than happy to let them use it and then tell them that it's a cost to send from the deck. So I was still gaining advantage. Like, that was just a minus for them, and still being able to send Neos to the graveyard was fantastic for me. So for like the Lightsworn games that I won, game 1 I just smashed, and then game 2 at this point I wasn't even siding. The only thing I was siding was things like Soul Drain that were really going to help me against getting over like the Rainbow Karibos and things like that were in the graveyard and the Necro Gardeners. So it went really well for me to be able to use that, and against the Sylvans, like, Super Poly just takes care of Quasar, which, I mean, when they overcommit to go to Quasar, Super Poly is way too strong, especially if you, like, end phase it, and it sets you up for such a strong play the next turn. So, but all in all, it was a good event. I had a lot of fun there. I'd love to go to another one. If you guys didn't see me, I know I said hi to a couple fans. It was actually cool to see you guys there. Other than that, though, guys, I mean, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. I know people tend to really like when I put out some more Neos videos, and I try to as much as I can, but you have to realize I'm working with a limited card pool at this point, especially if I'm trying to be competitive with it. But it is coming along really nicely. Like I said, if I could have changed the side deck to something that was a little bit more meta-oriented and something that I wasn't just trying to smokescreen and be cute with, I would have been happier, and that was a bad call on my part. So, I mean, pretty much, like, I like being able to side into traps, and I like the Gemini Sparks and Aliases, but just, like, the skill drains, they hurt me so much, especially when I was playing, like, the Hieratic player. Like, these didn't do anything but, like, help him, to be honest with you. So, I was hurting myself more than I was helping myself with the skill drains. Other than that, though, guys, it was a really great event, like I said. I hope to go to some other ones. I know that Nationals is this weekend, and I'm upset that I didn't go. But I also didn't go to enough regionals to get my invite this year. So, but if you guys like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you guys have any comments, questions, leave them in the comment section below. You know I always love to hear from you guys. I love a fan of the Neo stacks. I love all of that kind of stuff. So if you guys want to try to contact me or anything, put it in the comment section below. And as always, guys, remember to subscribe to join the Revolution Day. This is Slender Revolution X signing out, and I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.